guys a quick recap on where I am. Tonight I'm giving my 87th speech since I've been in Toastmasters. This is the first unprepared speech I've ever given in the 7 years that I've been in Toastmasters, and this is a manual that I have done my best job in avoiding. I know that we're not going to have table topics tonight, but essentially that's the challenge that I have. I have to give a completely unprepared speech for 5 to 7 minutes. Something to have to do with me. If you don't know me, I don't usually talk about me. Love talking about everyone else. Much easier. You ever grow up with that kid? Teacher asks a question, they're the first one with the hands up. You ever have that kid, junior high, 11 years old, 12 years old, you ask them what they want to be, and they have an answer right away? Annoying. Definitely annoying, and I would just like to confess, I was that kid. All throughout school, the worst thing my teachers ever told me was that I was gifted, because it led me to believe I knew it all, and no one stood in my way of conveying anything other than the fact that I was smart. I am a middle child, smartest in my family, according to my mom, and she loved to boast about my accomplishments. If you know me socially, where's a good place to eat? I have an answer. How do you get there? No GPS needed. I know the best route. What's a fun thing to do on a Saturday? It's 1 o'clock, but it's raining. I have an answer. Always. Always something available. Because I was already considered a leader, so through an essence of self-fulfilling prophecy, I was the guy with all the answers, and soon I became the person who had the pressure to always have them. Amongst my family, there was a situation with my sister. My little sister was working on a research project, and she asked me a geography question. I didn't know the answer, and I said, I don't know. She's like, no, look, I know I should be looking it up and doing work on my own, but if you could just tell me. She could not process that her big brother didn't have an answer readily available, and even though I have an older sister, I'm the older brother, have always been that way. Now, as you go through time, people make certain allowances for you. If you're in your early 20s, you don't really have the pressure of having to know exactly who you want to be, exactly what you want to do. And it's not until some sort of job interview that you're bombarded with a simple question like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you quickly come up with an answer, even though it wasn't necessarily something you're thinking about. As a matter of fact, here we are in the middle of February, and a lot of us haven't built up momentum even for our New Year's resolution. One simple goal for the year, one objective to complete, and how can we possibly know what we have in 5 to 10 years? Growing up, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to educate, but it wasn't until my adult life that I realized that didn't have to take place in the classroom. But here I am, in the midst of a calamity. Most of my friends, most of my family, they love me, they care for me, and they're getting used to this dynamic of me not necessarily having answers. It's unsettling. If you ask me today, where do you think you'll be in December? I don't know. If you ask me today, what job best suits your skills? I don't know. I've hit a bit of an impasse in my life. See, the problem was, growing up, no one really fostered me or my growth. If you ask if I had any role models in my life, most people were just so convinced because of the way that I deceived them that I didn't need any guidance or mentorship. I heard things like, the sky's the limit. Shoot for the moon. Even if you fail, you'll land amongst the stars. Not knowing that the closest star is the sun, and it's about 534 moon lengths away from us, so you'll actually come across over 500 moons before you get to the first star. But there's me knowing everything all over again. I didn't even necessarily know what I would talk about today. And for someone who's so convinced that I have to have all the answers, being at this point in my life has caused bouts of anxiety and depression, and it's made today far more challenging than I've ever known it to be. And tomorrow, that today, will also be equally, if not more challenging than the one I had to deal with. The people who love and care for me have realized that I can't necessarily fulfill that role in their life right now with that level of certainty, at least not in my own life. And it wasn't until recently that I understood that it really is okay. A lot of you might find yourself in a situation where you don't have all the answers. You might be in your 30s, your 40s, even nearing your 50s, and the pressure of society dictates you should have your life together. You should be composed. But I think for each of us, carrying on that facade has been very detrimental to us. Even if you look on social media, we always look happier than we really are. Images that sort of distort who we are. We're always happy, we're always healthy. And since we just kind of bombard people with all the most active points and all the highlights of our life, there's a lot of lulls that every one of us experiences, and we're not being vulnerable. I have the name Atlas. People have given it to me. It's been over 8 years now. For one reason, it's because I'm always so strong, taking the weight of the world on my shoulders. But if there's one thing I've learned, if there's one thing that I've matured into, it's that strength doesn't come in the avoidance of weakness. Strength comes in understanding and embracing the points when we are weak. Developing a good foundation of the people who care for us. Because by conveying to the people who love and care for us that we're having a hard time, that we're weak, that we're struggling, we are giving them permission in that moment, allowances, if you will, that they can have that open sense of communication with us. I am not as strong or as smart as I have led people to believe. I'm still growing. And no matter what age you are, no matter where you are, it's okay. It's okay to not know.